what's the percentage of people that end in divorce?
Yeah, over like 52% right now.
We should be that statistic in the world's eyes because of how much we've had to go through together. But I don't look at things, and I'm grateful that she doesn't look at things through the world's eyes. And that's why we're still together, is because we honor each other even when we fail each other.
What is up, my dear friends, and welcome back to another episode of Honey, I'm Home. Today we have a very special guest, and it is the first guest on Honey, I'm Home, and I am super excited you're here. I've been waiting for this conversation for quite some time. This man, this friend, this co-partner of mine in life and business in the future is a man that I deeply respect and adore. He's a guy that I trust and I'm excited to do life with. He's a family man. He's a husband. He's a father. He's a business owner, a CEO. He's a podcast host, and so much more. Those are just some small bits of who he is. And I'm excited to share him with you guys today because this man has spoken countless words into my life to keep me strong, to keep me going. And for me to be able to have this opportunity to sit with you today on Honey, I'm Home is one of the many blessings I get to have and share with you as well as with this community. So welcome my one and only dear friend, Vincent, brother.
Hey, what's up, man? It's so great to be here, dude.
Welcome to Honey, I'm Home, dude.
I'm
It's
so
here.
glad to be here.
It's here.
We're home.
Dude, behind us is actually this is the creator of Honey, I'm Home. Came up with the name of Honey, I'm Home. Together we came up with it. But I mean the branding, the color, the look, the feel, the idea.
I'm responsible for all this.
It is. I mean,
to take it away from you, like, so that people aren't like, why did this guy just come in here with the whole pink look? I was the one that was like, dude, just embrace it.
Just embrace pink. And I'm like, this is for a masculine audience.
Yeah.
But we're going to be pushing it to but I like it because it's an open conversation for not only the men but also the women.
No doubt, dude.
It's a universal conversation about leaders in a home and how we can develop better leaders in a home so that we can change not only our kids' lives, but our lives as well, because our lives are affected in the home life too, And today we're talking about a topic that I figured would be challenging to talk about because I know we've talked about this time and time again. I've only met you. It's almost been a year since I met you, man. We're almost at our year mark.
When was that?
That was like January, I think, is one of the first times.
Orientation?
Yeah. The first time I met you.
Yeah.
And
we sat at the same table in the conference room on our first day. Like, I legit, like, when I came in here, if people don't know maybe my backstory on, how I came about here, like, I was an artist full time and living and working for myself.
Yep.
And Brian hit me up. He had this crazy vision of starting, something with media. Didn't really know what that was. I come in, I'm like, dude, I don't even know what to expect. I have paint all,
yeah, you got paint all over you, dude. Same pants.
But I sit down at this table, and you're sitting there, and I'm like, well, I guess this guy's about to train me.
Yeah.
And we look at each other all wide-eyed.
You new here?
What's up, dude?
What up, man?
And
we hit it off.
We did. We had
the moment, dude.
That conversation that day is something I'll never forget.
It was special.
Yeah.
And that's when I realized what we have here is special.
Yeah.
And look how far we've come in the past 12 months. And the growth. Now we're on each other's shows, and I give you full credit on the look, the vibe, the feel of Honey, I'm Home. What a beautiful opportunity for us to come together to be able to talk about something that's impactful, important, and hopefully colorful. Because
I appreciate you giving me credit for it or whatever. But dude, like, it was so easy because. As a designer, all you need is like a why. If I have a why, it's with anything in life. Yeah. Like when people come to me and they're like, I want to start a podcast. What's your podcast about? I don't know. It's just gonna be, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, well,
about everything.
Like I don't know. Like when you came to me and you were like, I want to talk, and like you said, it's not limited to men, but like you felt called to speak to the, the men in the house that are, maybe business leaders and, in that realm. And then for my brain went like, well, obviously men, very masculine, dark colors, like neutrals, whatever.
Yeah.
And then I just thought like that's part of the problem is that like we're told as men to, separate maybe our emotion or our tender-heartedness because it's not masculine. It's
Right.
not. So
Manly.
that's why I was like, let's like totally slap society in the face with this branding
Yeah.
and like, catch people off guard, because wouldn't it be cool if like men really find what they're searching for through a podcast that's just overtly feminine.
Dude, I love it. And I mean, you know what's crazy is over the weekend, I just said this to my friend. I won't mention the name, but I know he's listening to this. I love when people reach out to me on my shows and on my podcasts or like on my Instagram DMs, and they're always like, they say something really nice, and I take that and I allow myself to feel it, right? Like just like appreciate is probably another word for it. But and those are strangers. But when my friends from my hometown come to me and tell me like how like he was raised in a manner that kind of like was forcing masculinity, which I believe is important to be masculine, but like he's like, but I'm also an emotional man.
No doubt.
And he's like, I've really resonated and connected with everything that you're saying, which last conversation was all about really the responsibilities and how we're supposed to be also the emotional provider of that person, which is hard for men to do. But like, that's why I love what you just said there, because a part of like your relationship with your man, whether you're women listen to this or you are the man himself, our responsibility as a man is to be emotionally vulnerable and real and open to those that love us, which is our women, who think that we should be or people think that we should be disconnected, which is not the truth. Like, I think we need more heart in our homes in order to change our homes, in order for divorce rates to plummet. And because we didn't get married as men to only find ourselves in a divorce 25 years later or 5 years later or 3 years later.
Yeah.
It's still death do us part. That was my vow, and it's still death do us part till the end.
No doubt.
So I'll figure it out, and I don't care how we figure it out, we're figuring it out.
Yeah.
And so it's like part of the reason of the Honey I'm Home podcast is I want to learn from people like yourself. Like we can learn from anybody. I just learned from Preston. You know what I mean? We just had Preston on the show. That's Brian's son, and like I can learn. I learn all the time, every day.
He's 4 years old.
4 years
Just for
old.
those out
Yeah,
there.
4 years old. But his day is good. He's just happy. I'm like, why can't my day just be good and happy? You know what I mean? Like he's choosing, like, well, I don't know. Like, is there something to worry about? No, there isn't. He's just enjoying life, right?
Yeah.
And part of that conversation, what I'm trying to get at here is that Honey I'm Home is really about, now I'm going to continue to push that message out here. It's a reminder of to me of how I can be a great lover, leader, and server for my own wife and my own home. So that I don't drop the ball, so that I'm held accountable. And along the way, let's talk about it with other guys and women from both perspectives about how we can become better men in the homes. What do they expect from us? And, I'm excited for Nicole, Lindy, you, and me on the podcast as we all join together and we talk about that. I think it's coming up. Dude, my wife has off work I think for 2 weeks in December, so she's coming in, and we're going to be recording things. So we got to get your wife in here, and we're gonna be tuning in, bro. It's gonna be a good one. I'm telling you.
All right.
As long as she's okay with it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why
She
not.
has to be.
Yeah, I just, she's gonna check me.
Yeah, that's okay. Let her
I'm
check
nervous.
you. No, that's great. Dude, it's gonna work. It's gonna work just fine. So today, we're gonna be talking about a little bit about the importance of time management in the home. And I want to share a quote with you that hopefully resonates a little bit.
Yeah.
And it says, "Time is the most valuable coin in your life. You and you alone will determine how that coin will be spent. So be careful that you don't let someone else spend it for you." And I want you to talk a little bit about time management and the importance it's become in your own life, because you're, like I said, you're a husband, you're a father, you're a business owner, we work full time. We have a lot of responsibilities. And how has time management, supported you or not supported you? What are you currently doing in your life that is helping you to develop, a stronger family dynamic in your own house?
Yeah.
And talk a little bit about your journey with time management, because what I've learned is like there was a time where you weren't managing your time. And now I saw on your calendar, like yesterday, and I've seen it before, but yesterday it reminded me, like it says in your calendar, family time. Like, why is that important? Why is putting in your calendar family time? Like, dude, you go home, it's family time, right? Like, why did you schedule in family time? Where does that come from? Why is that important?
Because every time I have to cancel it, I feel it. Every time I have to remove that, it's easy to add something to your evening, but when you have to delete the family time meeting in your calendar, you feel it a little bit more.
What do you think of?
I think of what I'm missing when I delete that. And it's like I'm missing that first, or last of something with my kids. Like, there's been so many things that Veda has done over dude, you're going to get me. There's been so many things that I never realized it was her last until I'm like, she doesn't do that anymore. And I wonder if I could have been present for it, like how much differently I would have looked at that. Just the way she pronounces words. Just the way that, maybe she used to say, or like even just like little expressions, like anytime something would happen, she'd go, "Ooh, fancy." And I just remember her little voice, like, "Ooh, fancy."
Aww.
And like, she doesn't say that anymore. And it's like, when did that stop? I wasn't aware when she grew out of that. So every chance, and what I'm learning is every time I'm at home, there's a moment like that, if I'm present enough to realize it. It's not like they're few and far between. They're every single night. So which ones am I okay with missing? And I'm not good at this. There's several times right now while we're growing this business where I've missed those things. And those are the sacrifices that when I remove that from my calendar, that allows me to be that much more driven, that if I'm going to remove that from my calendar, whatever I replace it with, I got to give it my all, because I'm giving up something that is more valuable than anything in my life.
Yeah, because you're not getting that time back, dude. You're never going to see that again.
Never.
And so, like, that very thing that you're giving up, which is time with your family, with your kids, with your wife, has to become something special in order for you to validate that very thing. It's hard to be a man when we have to make those choices. It's like, I mean, in my eyes, like, I want to lead my family financially, but it's really hard for us to be able to lead our family financially when we have to be there presently with them as well. But like, talk about, a little bit about how important your presence and you actually being there. Like, here's what I learned if you don't mind me sharing this.
Yeah, dude.
One thing that I've realized with the limited amount of time that I literally, bro, if I pulled this up this morning, I mapped out my hours. Dude, I have in a total week's time, which it sounds like a lot, but I have a total of 63 free personal hours, right? But that means
including sleep time?
Yes. So that includes, so 63 total hours, including sleep time. And that's limited. And I got to make sure that my intentionality every time I walk through my door, because it's not like I get to spend 4 hours a night with my wife. Like, what goes through my mind at times is like, I just want deep connection with my wife. I just want to be there fully with. I wish there was a way to be more fully with her, even when I'm with her. Like, that's how much I crave, just enjoy. And that's just, it's probably other people's stories, but like, that's how much I enjoy just being around my wife. Mm-hmm. But with the limited amount of time, our goal as men need to be on, if you only have an hour that evening, it's a full hour. No phone, no distraction, fully present, smiling, happy, engaged, talking, joking, making each other smile, holding each other for a split moment longer. As soon as you see that your wife is about to let go, you decide to hold her a little bit longer. She gave you one peck, you gave her two. It's those moments. But like, talk a little bit about, how have you capitalized on those moments in your household to keep your wife? How long have you and your wife been together? I mean, how many years what's your story look like?
Yeah, we got married in 2016. In May, we started dating. We met in elementary school.
What?
She was friends with my cousin, and I would go to my cousin's birthday parties. They were at the same elementary school, and so she claims that she had a crush on me. I don't know.
Whoa!
Back in the day.
Jeez, let's go.
But
you dog.
I know,
you a
right?
dog.
But then
she knew day one.
Maybe, I don't know. She then, obviously, when we got older, we went to the same middle school and eventually high school. We started dating in middle school in 7th grade. We were sitting in the same reading class Miss Stanich reading class, and I remember she claims differently, but she said she said she didn't, but I got a photographic memory.
Yeah.
She had a Betty Boop pink T-shirt on,
Let's go, dude.
and I was like, she's cool, like she's cute,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
And you know, like I think she had a boyfriend back then at the time, and like whatever. So
Yeah.
like we were always friends, and then we started like dating, and people actually started telling us that we were gonna get married in like 7th and 8th grade.
What?
And I panicked. I panicked hard, bro. I started ghosting her in the hallway,
dude.
like just walking
That's
past,
funny.
fully like
Yeah.
no eye
That's
contact. 'Cause
hilarious,
I'm like,
bro.
I don't know how to break up with her,
Yeah.
but like,
Yeah.
I'm not ready to get married.
Of course. That's
And then
funny.
we were just friends throughout, you know, a little bit like 8th, 9th, 10th grade. And then we actually started dating again in 11th grade. Dated all through college. And then a lot of life happened. You know, like my dad got sick. You know, her family was going through some things. And her and I think, just were really emotionally unstable and kind of pushed each other away.
Okay.
Split up for a year after college. And, you know, like I went down like this was before, you know, even both of us really came to faith and surrendered our life. And then that was kind of the process where we found each other again, started dating again, found Jesus together.
Wow.
And then, well, she had actually started going to church before me and had been praying that I would eventually come. And then one day I just texted her. I was like, hey, like, I'll come with you today.
Yeah.
And
Right on.
so that's kind of the 30,000 foot, you know,
So elementary
quick pitch
school.
of how we got together. But,
Married
you know,
for 7 years, 8 years?
well, I don't know, what is that, 2016?
To 2023 is like 7 years?
Yeah, dude, I don't know.
Yeah, we're
I
not
can't-
good with
it's
those
not
numbers.
that I don't, yeah.
Yeah, it's
It's
not
not
that you
I
don't
don't
care.
pay attention. It's
yeah.
just that I know that whatever one
Yeah.
mathematically my brain's telling me right now is probably wrong.
I got you. Yeah, I think it's like
I'm
7.
definitely a creative brain person.
Yeah, dude, I get that. That's awesome. So like that's a long experience, man, and that means that you guys had to have obviously went through a lot. Meaning like there's a lot of growth in those amount of years. What people don't always understand is like how many times that you in those years you're dating a different person each year,
Yes.
dude. Like
That's the hardest part.
they're changing whether you want to accept it or not.
Yeah.
And
up
talk
until
about it.
up until the point where we realized, oh, we're supposed to change. That caused a lot of turmoil. And that's
Yeah.
why I think also in that phase of life where we split up for that year after college, it was like, you changed. Well, of course, I met you in 7th grade. I'm
supposed
glad
to.
that I changed.
Yeah, I'm
Like,
supposed to.
you know, and
Yeah.
I think it was realizing that, obviously, like our faith, like I said, had a lot to do with us kind of coming to terms with the things that happened in our life and you know, working back through it together. But like, let me preface this, dude. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and talk about time management as if I'm like, I struggle with it, dude. As an artist, like, especially when I was freelance, like for about 2 years after COVID, I was just working from my studio downtown, and there would be days where I would go down there before her and the kids woke up. Well, at the time, little Vinny wasn't here yet, my son.
Yeah.
But her and
EC3.
her and Veda would be sleeping in bed when I'd leave, and sometimes I'd be like, hey, it's 2 a.m., I'll be home in 2 hours. Like, I would work, dude. I would put in endless hours because I had this vision. And honestly, like as an artist, sometimes like there's no fast track to it. You got to put in the hours. And I learned a lot of lessons that year, and I learned who I was that year. I'm sitting here with all of this right now because of those 2 years. And that's why I said, like, those times where I canceled on those those family times were in my calendar back then too. And when I canceled on those because I had to get a project done to keep my word to a client, I knew that I could see something big was going to come from that. I didn't know what it was, but I would be able to sit down and be like, hey, babe, this is why I was in the studio. And I think I got to live a little bit of that this past week when she came in here and saw what all we built. And she posted something on her story like, you know, Vinny started his podcast in the basement, and like now this is his studio.
It's crazy,
it's like,
dude.
for her to see that and
Yeah.
like acknowledge the sacrifice, it doesn't mean that we get that time back.
No.
But now she didn't get that vision back then.
No.
She could have chosen
This was always in the dude. Someday this was going to take place. Whether
up here for me, but like,
Yeah.
you know, it's not her vision. It's my vision, and I have to, like, I had to make it happen, or else, you know, it was my word on the line. And like you said, it's like, if I tell you my word, it's like death do us part. Same thing. Like, hey, babe, this time is going to be worth it.
Yeah.
They better be worth it.
Yeah.
Like,
I talked about it last week. I don't know if you tuned in, but I talked about the responsibilities of a man, and one of the responsibilities being the visionary. It's like we are to lead our families by setting the vision for our families so that we can take them to new levels, new heights, experience new opportunities. I'm not waiting for my wife. I'm not waiting for anybody else to make my vision become a reality. And it's like, to be able to share that is tough, because there'll be like, once again, well, when's this going to happen? I don't know, but it's going to happen. Okay. But just trust the process. But I want to know your perspective, because I feel like a lot of households across America deal with, especially in the American culture, which is like, go, get things done, just motivation, everything. Like we don't, sometimes we don't even eat, dude, like more so you than me, but like people eat at their desks. Right. So it's like, talk about the idea you chose. What becomes more important, a client or your family?
mm-hmm.
Talk about that. I want to see what your perspective is. Like, knowing that this camera is obviously going to hold you accountable, but share your perspective with other individuals who are choosing work over their family, or who are choosing, being an artist, or choosing, anything besides over their family. What's most important and why?
I think it's shaping it in your mind a little bit, and I'll explain. Communication of your vision to your partner and to your kids, if you have them, is essential. You can't have them in the dark. Mm-hmm. I think there's been times in my life where I have a vision, and I think up until, like, this is the first time I've really cashed in on a vision, if you call this cashing in.
I'd say so.
So up until now, all the visions that I've told my wife, she has had to just believe at face value. Like, there's no proof, there's no evidence that I can deliver.
Yeah.
And other than the fact that we're still married, that's really the only other,
Yeah.
And that's still pending. We're still in the marriage.
Yeah, we're
like,
still
I'm
in
not
the
saying
marriage.
I got any plans, but like,
Yeah.
she's like, well, have you proven that yet? Yeah, it's been 5-6 years, but what's 50 years look like? So
exactly.
You're proving yourself every day in a marriage. But it's like, for her to trust my vision, right? It took a lot of fights. It took a lot of hard conversations. It took a lot of things that we probably said to each other that we regret. But we loved each other enough every time to choose to make things right, to amend what,
might have been
conversation
broken.
or, things that have been broken. And, we've went through couples therapy a couple times.
Yeah.
We've went through, opening up to our pastor and letting them in a couple times. And we have no shame in sharing that part of our story. And I'm so proud of it, because I know for sure that what's the percentage of people that end in divorce?
Yeah, over like 52% right now.
We should be that statistic in the world's eyes because of how much we've had to go through together. But I don't look at things, and I'm grateful that she doesn't look at things through the world's eyes. And that's why we're still together, is because we honor each other even when we fail each other. And like I said, we don't have a perfect relationship. We've been together longer than we have not.
Yeah.
If you think about that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, for sure.
So it's like I was 13 basically when we met.
Yeah.
She's seen every phase of me. There is not an ounce of BS that I can feed her that she's going to entertain for a second, because she's seen every single step of the way. So, like, I think I'm, like, rambling off
this
of
is
your initial question.
Yeah,
but like,
all is good.
I think to answer, I think this will answer your question. It's not choosing a client over your family.
Okay.
It's talking to your family about why this matters. And they may not understand the first time, a couple times go by, and then you got to check yourself and be like, okay, is this really worth it? Because there's been times where I'm like, well, I just don't want to, like, I don't want to miss this opportunity. Or like, maybe like an NFL player has reached out to me to do a pair of cleats, and I got to stay up all night and do them or whatever it is. And then it get on the back half of it, and I'm like, that wasn't worth it. But it felt like it was going to be worth it, and then it wasn't worth it. Or like a trade show. I go to a trade show and sit there for 6 hours. I don't get that time back. And I look back at it and I'm like, yeah, I made these connections, but like, was that worth it? So I think it's being very honest with yourself. And then when when you mess up and what you chose to do outside of that family time or whatever you had blocked off, you own up to that. And you have to be like, hey, like I was wrong. Like, I should have chose to be with you. Like you got to be vulnerable, man.
That's the truth. You got to be vulnerable, but like not only what you said there is valuable. I want them to understand that, if you're a man, you've got to make sure that you're clearly communicating that vision to your family about why this is important. Like I'm working 12 hours, 13, 14, 15 hours a day because this is how I show my love and support. I don't want my family to fail. But if you're telling me as my wife or as my partner that you need more me time, just know that more me time is sometimes money, right? Most of the time it is. So it's like, if you do need more me time, listen to her because she's there to support you.
Yeah.
And like allow her to be a part of that. Maybe her support is by just spending time with you, right? So, maybe your man's out there, working 12-hour days, 10-hour days, but the best thing that I could ask my wife is to respect and to support my visions, to never question. And I say this in a deep manner, like don't question my vision, like maybe point out some things, but like make sure no matter how crazy it is, support it because your belief in me will help me to propel this vision forward even faster.
Yeah.
I will find out. I will figure out a way. But like what we need from our women, like I think ultimately a man's responsibility is to allow and this is just my belief, and it's maybe an unpopular belief in this day and age, but like it's a belief that I want to share. My responsibility is to make sure that my wife can raise our kids and take care of our home. Like it's very traditional. Like I want my wife, if she wants to go work, more power to you. I'm cool with it. Like but if you don't want to, more power to you. I'm cool with it. Like I want to give her options.
Yeah.
And I know that like I like the idea. Like I want to give her complete freedom to figure it out what she wants to do. But like a part of my job as a man, just like it is yours, is to make sure that we're going to work and not saying that, oh, I have to go to work. It's I get to go to work because I get to support my family. Like even when it becomes challenging, even when our time management isn't great, when we have to, take it off our schedule. But when you put it back on the schedule or when you can, it's like you're going to greet her in bed at 2 a.m. with a kiss on the cheek and to remind her how much I am grateful and I love you.
Every morning when I leave, every morning, there's not a morning I don't leave without giving a kiss to my wife and my 2 kids. Like, actually, the other day, she was like, do not kiss him. He didn't sleep all night. Like, do not wake him up. And I was like, I felt like complex. I was like, well, I have to do that. Like, I actually gave her 2 kisses, and I was like, give him one.
Yeah, there we go.
Figure this out. Delegation.
This is great. That's teamwork, bro.
Yeah.
That's teamwork. That's awesome, man. So, like, you're currently, is there any pieces of advice? Has time management, like, how do you manage your time? That's the idea of time management in a home, like, so that you can make sure that they don't get neglected, because a lot of homes, get neglected because of the lack of effort or intention or communication that they're not having because they're not setting the time for that. So how have you been able to manage and maybe not perfectly, but like I'm sure that you're doing something. So how are you currently managing your time? Are you using a specific tool? Are you writing it down? Are you putting it in your calendar? How does that work within your home to help other guys out or other relationships out?
So, I mean, we kind of have a natural flow in the house right now with the kids because you have bedtime routines, I just know at whatever goes on during the day, around this time, we're going to be at home, giving the kids a bath, brushing their teeth,
I gotcha,
putting the PJs on.
Yeah.
So it's like usually I just kind of check in on a day-to-day basis because some days my wife will take the kids to the grandparents' house and they'll hang out there for the day. So I'm just kind of gauging what I'm walking into during the day. Like, are you going to be at home?
Yeah.
Are you going to do bath time at grandma's house? Like, are you like, what's this look like tonight?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's day to day for the phase that we're in right now with the kids.
Yeah.
But for the most part, like, I try to just communicate, hey, today I got to stay a little bit late. Are you going to be at home? And I just know that, like, when that kind of thing happens, I owe them a little extra time somewhere. And so maybe that's the weekend. I got to do, it's not I got to. Like, I want to, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I want to make up for that time. So right now, like, I think that's actually something that, I opened up to my wife, and just to be, like, fully candid here, let's just throw it all out there.
Throw it up.
Like, this weekend, like, I opened up to her about, I feel I've been talking to Brian, like, personal excellence is our motto for the Pavement Group going into next year. And I think that extends obviously over into our lives. And, I told my wife about that. I'm like, personal excellence. Like, I got to level up in like a lot of phases in my life, and that's at home too. And 30 minutes later, so I messed up. I said something. She was irritated at me.
Yeah.
And she's reminding me about personal excellence, and I was like, I'm not gonna open up to you about anything anymore, because you're gonna hold me.
Yeah, you're gonna hold me accountable to it.
And it's like I genuinely was like really angry that she used it against me like an hour after I told her. But then I
You haven't even give me a chance. It's not even a new year yet.
and like new year, new me, dude.
Yeah.
Give me till January.
Yeah, come on now.
But she holds me to it, man, and I had to own that. I actually like not to like pat myself on the back, but like went in and was like, hey, I was fully wrong today. Like I projected a lot on you, and I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And like I don't know if you're over it yet. I'm not asking you to be, but like just know, like I know that I was in the wrong.
Yeah.
And
I know that conversation, bro. I know it. Yeah, like I know it because it's like I can see what probably triggered it, and it's like we have to have grace and unconditional love in our hearts to meet them where they're at too, because their personal excellence doesn't need to be at our standard. It just needs to be at their standard that they feel like they're excelling at, just as quickly. Because once again, so it's like, oh, well, I think that this should be your personal standard because of this is my personal standard, and we're in a relationship. Therefore, it's like, yeah. So it's like I push all my personal standards and excellences into my wife, and then she's like, whoa, like, no, that's you. That's not me. Like, I'll start going to the gym, but maybe like 2 times a week, not every day.
Yeah.
Like that can be you because that's your excellence. That's not my excellence. Mine is just getting to the gym, she would say. Right? And I'm like, oh, yeah. All right, that's cool. Whatever yours is. And it's sometimes as the visionary or the leader, we oftentimes, push our visions too strongly onto them and devaluing their own personal excellence vision. And it's like, hey man, or it's like, hey honey, how can I support you in your personal excellence? It's opening it up. What I just did it with my wife. I said, what are your goals for this year? And some of them surprised me.
I need to ask Lindy that.
Yeah, like I know mine. I'm like, do you know mine?
Dude, I feel like I share so much
About-
and I don't ask. Because like she's in that stay-at-home mom realm.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, obviously my goals are your goals. No, they're not.
No, they're not. No,
they're
they're
not.
not. Yeah, one surprised
Sorry,
me.
I will ask you this maybe before this airs.
Let's go. I mean, for real though. So like maybe you're someone that needs to be asking like your significant other, hey, what are your goals and how can I support you? What are you excited for in 2024? Because I will always tell my wife once we have kids, you're more than just a stay-at-home wife and a mother. Like what are you excited about? Like
No doubt.
I don't care if your day's just taking care of diapers and snotty noses. Like what are you excited about? Because you're more than just a mother, you're more than just a caretaker. And what do you want your life to be about? And so I asked my wife that like on Sunday, I'm like, what are some of your goals? And she was laying on the couch and just kicked her feet up and, just threw a couple at me. I'm like, I was trying to dig deeper. I'm like, there has to be. And no, she's just like, I'm like, and I love that about her because she doesn't have to achieve a great life to feel great.
Yeah.
Like I don't have that. I'm like, I'm still struggling with that as a man. Like in order for me to feel great, I have to make sure I'm doing something great. Like almost my productivity or my activity will equal to my happiness.
Yeah.
Her, it's like Preston. I'm like, how's your day going? He's like, good. Because he doesn't have anything else to worry about. That's how my wife is. She lives like a child. And I love it. It reminds me to be a child. It reminds me to have fun. It reminds me to not take life so seriously. It reminds me like it's okay not to have a goal every now and again and just enjoy the moment.
Yeah. Ask her if her goal is babysitting at all.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because there's a few in. Yeah, well, I will say one is something with a baby in the up and coming year, but we'll wait for that one. But I do want to kind of wrap this up. I know that we're coming to time here on trying to keep these between 20 minutes and 30 minutes. But ultimately, is there anything else that you'd like to share before I give them a actionable piece of ideas and content? I know, where can they currently find you? I would love for you guys to, like I said, Vinny, or VC2 is a gentleman who I allow to speak into my life that I am with daily. I spend more time with this man than I spend with my wife. You are my family. You are my friend. You are my co-partner. I can see us building not only this business, but many other businesses together. I can see our kids growing up together. I can see our family evolving together. I have a big vision for you and and for all of us that are around each other.
Yeah.
And I want you guys to allow this man, if you would hear me for a moment, allow this man to speak into your life, because his heart is good. It's as pure as a man's heart can get. He's a true example of what it means to be a man, but also to have the emotion of a great leader. He's intuitive, he's creative, and he's just a special guy to have in your home, whether you listen to it because he runs a great podcast that's really changing lives and bringing sports and art together into one, and the conversation is great there as well. So, Vinny, where can they follow you? Where are you at? And
dude, I really appreciate all that. Like, I'm just sitting here, like, I've been on podcasts, and you says I'm your first guest. Like, I just want to say this, like, I'm so excited for anybody that sits in this chair for you, because you make people feel seen. And so I want to thank you, man, for letting me be on the show, because all the things you just said about me, I believe true about us and our families. And I'm really excited, dude. Like, when we leave things, like we had the company Christmas party at the Pavement Group. And
yeah.
when I leave things like that, dude, like, we're in a little bit of a weird phase where we have to leave events a little early with the kids. But,
Yeah.
like, I can't, building this is so exciting, because my wife doesn't get to be a part of all of it yet. But, like, I'm building a life, because when the kids are up and out of the house, you better have something to, or else your relationship is.
You're right, dude.
I can't wait for her to step into this life.
Yeah, dude.
Because it's going to be incredible. And she's going to be like, I love you so much more because you saw this.
Yeah.
And, like, I'll be damned if I'm not going to get her there. So I think, like,
Same, man.
closing statement here, dude, is,
where can they find you at?
Yeah, I mean, you can find me at VC2 Art. The show is at Athletic Aesthetic Pod on Instagram, but it's hosted on YouTube or Spotify, iTunes, all those things, dude. I'm into having, like, I'm tired of surface stuff in life.
Yeah,
I love
same.
that your show is cutting right to the root of, like, the homes, the issues in the home. And I hope to help you with this show, man, however I can.
Thanks,
That's all I
Broski.
got.
Thank you. And before we close off here, let's give you one actionable thing that you can take away to advance your home life forward, and it would be to do exactly what I did this morning, because I knew I couldn't talk about it prior to actually doing it more so myself, which is making sure that you schedule your family time into your calendar or write it down and communicate that to your significant other so that they hold you accountable to that. I think that is probably key to a successful marriage and a successful life, is making sure that you're planning that, because just being there isn't enough. Just showing up into your home and walking in isn't enough. Being intentional and giving effort and giving love and giving value and making her smile, making them laugh is it's going to take it. You've got to do whatever it takes. And what you have to do now is, if your family time isn't in your calendar, get it in your calendar by the end of the week and screenshot it and send it my way, and I will be sure to share it, because it's so important. I'll do the same for you, and I'll be sure to reach out to you guys on Instagram at Tylerjoestratton. But once again, if you guys enjoyed this episode of Honey, I'm Home, be sure to subscribe to YouTube, to the podcast, wherever you listen to this at, and be sure to share it out to 1, 2, or 3 of your friends and give them the motivation, the inspiration, and the knowledge, skill set, and ability they also need to improve their own home life, because I believe that happiness is created or destroyed in a home. And if we want to change this world, we have to change it by going into it one home at a time. My name is Tylerjoestratton. I am the proud host of the Honey, I'm Home podcast, and we are excited that you're here today. Thank you for spending your time with me. Now, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.